rights of the Palestinians, the human beings.
Right. And we give lots of
Hillary
bombs.
denies the humanity of Palestinians. I know you don't care, that's the problem. Cornel West says Hillary's Jim Crow for Palestine. That's Cornel West. Cornel West says Hillary is Jim Crow for Palestine. So they deny the Palestinians' right to exist. That's Cornel West.
Right on that.
Cornel West says Jim Crow for Palestine, according to Hillary. Hillary is Jim Crow for Palestine, denies their right to exist. They're human beings. These Palestinians on Rosa Parks Day rode a bus from West Bank to Jerusalem, and the police threw them off and beat them as they tried to ride on a segregated bus from their West Bank city on an Israeli-only road on a bus into Jerusalem, and they got pulled off, and they were wearing Rosa Parks t-shirts. So that's why it's Jim Crow. They caught on to that. American-Israeli Public Affairs Committee is the one that lobbies. That's the NRA and the AIPAC are the two strongest lobbies. Maybe the oil industry are the strongest lobbies in Washington, and they push the Democrats into all of this terrible Israeli apartheid. We know Palestinian friends, and it's like Jim Crow South. That's what Cornel West said. He's a civil rights guy. So Hillary's good on some stuff.
Where's he
from? He taught at Princeton. He's written books. He's been a civil rights leader for his whole lifetime. And so he's on television all the time. But what it is we send $3 billion to the Israeli army, and they use it to keep the occupation.
Yeah, but they're one of our allies.
But what about the Palestinians? They're people, and so this
You
is
know
really.
what, though? They've been fighting over there like that.
Well, that's what people say. I won't argue. I'm just
No,
saying,
I
think
don't
about it,
wanna
look it
either.
up. But
Yeah.
you know, that was the same thing they said about South Africa. If you remember South Africa, they were our allies until we went against apartheid. Thank you for listening. Thank you for talking.
Whoa, beautiful.
That's what she said, no regrets.
I gotta get a picture.
In fact, she said we should have done more. And then they keep on.
Well, she's a war hawk, and she supports Israeli apartheid. She supports militarization of Israel, and these U.S. bombs are used on civilians constantly and help sustain the occupation of Palestine, which is an illegal occupation. And you know, she needs to turn around on that, and you know, I might have a better feeling towards her.
So your vote is going where? This?
I'm going with the Green Party, Jill Stein.
So people feel a vote for the third party is really a vote for Donald Trump. Are you okay with that?
Well, you know what? Activists, no, I'm not. Activists work 365 every day of the year, you know, 24/7. I work on issues. Why do we put all this energy into elections? And no matter who gets in the White House, I mean, I supported President Obama at one time, but then he's using, you know, military drones, weaponized drones, which is extrajudicial assassinations, which is illegal too by international law. So no matter who you get in there, Bush, Obama, you know, we need a person that really will stand by peace and justice in the world and stop all this $640 billion in weaponry every year and help rebuild our streets, roads, bridges, water main break. Every time there's a water main break in Cleveland, just think of the military budget. We're wasting our money, flushing it right down the toilet. And all these candidates are for that. Trump, Clinton.
You think we should wipe out ISIS?
ISIS, well, how you want to wipe them out? Okay, so ISIS was a fringe group until the U.S. created a vacuum for them, you know, in Iraq. So, you know, it has to be a holistic approach, all right? We need to negotiate with people in the area that will work with us and, you know, disempower ISIS in whatever diplomatic ways we can. You know, bombing them isn't doing any good. It's only creating more recruits. The U.S. is the best recruiter of terrorism in the planet because when we break international law, you know, torture people in Iraq, in Abu Ghraib, use weaponized drones all over the nation or all over the world. This is breaking international law. So what right do we have to be the policeman of the rule when we're breaking the world when we're breaking the rules?
Very good.
Ms. Clinton supports militarization of Israel, and those bombs are used on civilians. Can you believe it? They use their bombs on civilians, U.S. bombs, thanks to Ms. Clinton and the U.S. Congress.
And unfortunately, Hillary is supporting Jim Crow.
Oh, yeah.
And we're sending three. Yes, she is. Look at Cornel West and look him up. Well,
You nothing but a stone.
10 points higher. Hillary's going. If the Democrats wanted to beat Trump, they would have taken Bernie. They don't care. They're pushing this machine. There's nobody to vote for now.
She's going to win with a mandate, trust me.
Well, and then she's going to continue to kill Palestinians.
I disagree. She's not killing them.
I'll meet you back here in 2 years and we'll check it out.
She's not killing anybody. And that kind of rhetoric is disrespectful
No.
to our future first lady.
Look up Cornel West. He was in the platform committee fighting for Palestinians. He walked away saying Democrats are now enforcing Jim Crow. That's Cornel West, who I respect. If you don't respect him, then fuck it. Excuse me.
Then what? See,
Screw
that's
him.
exactly what I'm talking about.
I'm talking
exactly.
to you.
That ignorance, that type
No,
of ignorance.
that's not ignorance.
And his campaign is all about that.
What?
And he hated what they were doing, and he left.
You saw it already.
Because he was for the side of liberation.
Yeah.
And he left and went to New York and was against Zionism the whole time, and he was from there.
I want peace in the Middle East between Israelis and Palestinians. America.
Why are you doing this to the Republicans?
I already did. We protested the Republicans. My sign said, "Racist National Convention for the Republicans." I did a little bit with extracurricular stuff. So
Means Loverman in German.
Lieberman, ich kann ein bisschen Deutsch sprechen, nicht so viel.
You been to the Holocaust Museum?
I took my Jewish kids to the Holocaust.
Been to Washington?
Yeah, I went there. My kids.
We've been to Detroit.
I stood with Jewish kids on the side, looking into the museum. They saw their relatives looking back at them, right? I cried. So I've been through that. So I'm not an anti-Semite, I don't think. But I'm anti-Israel because Israel's wrong. I want Israel to live and prosper, and if they can't, as a militarized state. Look this stuff up. We walked out. The Democrats voted down the Palestinians and said it's Jim Crow today, and Hillary's supporting it. So we're denying the humanity. And you know, people of color. I don't have to get into that. He knows too. I'm white. I have white privilege. You guys, I don't know how long you've been in America, but this history is crazy going back. And if you studied, you probably know it better than most American kids who I taught, for all I know. That's what my South African friends told me. American kids didn't know world history or geography. But anyway, the third world struggle for self-liberation and self-determination going back to Gandhi, that's what Palestine is like. Democratic Party, Hillary on the wrong side. Bernie was on the right side. Jill Stein has taken the good position. Cultural attracts the school. Hey, we're backing Jill Stein because Hillary is supporting Palestinian Jim Crow. You heard that one with Cornel West? You know Cornel West, right? Democratic slate? Let me see who we're going for here. Thank you, sir, for listening. Sometime.
But when you did that, it also allowed the worst environmentalists, worse when it came to basically.
I was in the Sierra Club. We were going to burn Gore's book on the White House lawn. He did so little for 8 years. At the end, they made a couple national parks.
Stop. He was vice president. Vice president, under the Constitution, just passed one single
He
job.
could have pushed Clinton. Clinton was that bad on the environment?
No, he wasn't that bad. But my point to everything is you have a choice. You got to look at one thing is who I'm not going to get everything I want, but who's supposed to give me something of what I want. And when you start voting for a third party, what you do is you give one or the other a greater advantage. And that's why I bring up Bush, because if Ralph Nader wasn't there, Gore would have done it. We might not have been in 2 wars.
Maybe.
We might not have basically been in.
Well, that's a good point. But when are we going to get our third parties in? When are we going to open our democracy
I've also
up?
looked at the third parties, and I saw the Libertarian Convention.
How did you get Lincoln?
Well, I'm for
How
the
did you
Green.
get Lincoln? How did you get Lincoln? Lincoln didn't do that much. But
He came up there because
third party because he came out of nowhere in 2 terms.
But we also had a party going under at the
Now
time
look
that
at
he
that.
came through.
Black Lives Matter.
We got parties going under now.
Yeah.
We both work
No,
with.
we won't have it yet, because if you basically we allow Trump to get elected, that third party will see that he doesn't have to change, and it will continue on with the same platform.
Well, at least give you one
That
pamphlet.
hurts. I'm sorry.
We work with Black Lives Matter with Tamir Rice's family. We both sit with Tamir Rice's family, so we're doing that stuff too. In fact, the black youth have gone to Palestine. In Ferguson, the black youth, the Palestinians called in and told them how to cover their faces for tear gas. You got that one? So the
No,
Palestinian
I've read on it, and
Well,
I'm not against what you're saying, because I believe the fact
You
that
gotta tell me-
if we're going to have peace, you cannot keep treating the Palestinians as the enemy, because without both sides coming together and realizing they have to give something up in order for there to be peace, that we cannot continue to allow the Israelis to keep making settlements.
What's your
in every
number?
corner.
What's your number? You're going to be our speaker. We're going to call you Israel apartheid, which they say is the same as South Africa apartheid. The Democrats are supporting apartheid because in the Democratic Platform Committee, they voted down the Palestinian Human Rights Platform, the plank. And when Cornel West presented it and got voted down, he walked out saying the Democratic Party is now Jim Crow. And this an old guy that grew up in apartheid. You know what I'm talking about. And you don't know if Cornel West is right, but look it up. If you want to go to him,
No signs allowed in the venue. Please don't buy any signs.
I'm sorry. With Mandela? All right, now, Tutu and Mandela say Israel is practicing apartheid in Israel against the Palestinians. So the Palestinians are occupied just like the Africans were by the Afrikaner apartheid. I'll walk with Gaza and West Bank both. Different, both the same.
Okay.
And so, the Democratic Platform Committee, you know Cornel West?
Yes.
All right, well then that simplifies it. He was presenting the Palestinian plank. It was voted down, look it up, 80 to 40 or something, which meant that he walked out calling Israel's policy Jim Crow. You know, West, he grew up in Jim Crow in Missouri. He walked across a railroad track to school or something. It was Jim Crow.
Oh, look. Okay. No, that was really the state of the land. And actually, in the 1950s and early 60s until 64. Yeah, civil rights. Okay.
No, but tell me.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that was really the state of our country at that time,
Cleveland
especially
too.
in the South. Yes.
I drove through there and saw it as a 10-year-old.
Okay.
I saw the chain gangs with the guy with the shotgun, and 5 or 6 kids on a ramshack Porsche. You know, I saw it.
Yeah.
I never forgot that till today.
Yeah.
But when Cornel West says we have Jim Crow today in the Democratic Party, Debbie Wasserman Schultz and Hillary crushed the Palestinian plank.
Well, Cornel West is also in favor of Jill Stein.
Yeah, well, he's for Bernie until then. And Bernie could have beat
But
Trump
he's
easily.
endorsing Jill now.
Well, yeah, because he's so fed up with Hillary. And Hillary, part of Hillary's problem is this: if you're for Jim Crow, that's the Democratic Party of the 50s. And that was Lyndon Johnson saved us, right? Sort of. He didn't beat Vietnam. Well, he passed the Civil Rights Law.
And then we're going to do a sticker and you'll be all set to go.